Hi, I'm Daniel Shanahan from New Leaf Data, and in this video I want to demonstrate 4 methods for updating inventory quantities. These methods are my interpretation from methods discussed with other developers on a FileMaker forum. The link to that discussion is below. This is not an exhaustive list by any means, but hopefully it gives you an idea of how to approach updating inventory in your solutions. There are 2 characteristics common to all of these methods. First, they track changes in a transaction table. And second, they do not use calculation or summary fields. The demo shows items in various locations, and quantities are kept for both the item and the locations. In fact, the quantities for the item should be the aggregate of the locations. The quantity fields include on hand, available, allocated, on order, and on back order. Again, these are not exhaustive. You may also have quantity fields such as in transit, in repair, etc. The demo files are set up according to a general product movement. Products are ordered, then received, sold, picked, and shipped. There is also a transfer option. I'll start with ordering items from vendor. I'll order 10 units of item A. You can see that updates the item layout. I'll mark this purchase order as sent, and now I'll receive those items. I'll receive the items in different locations, and you can see the locations update as well as the item. Let's run through that process again, this time using the script debugger. In this first method, we're simply going over to the item layout, finding the item, and updating the data there. Then the script moves to the transaction table and creates a new record. Let's receive those items from the second purchase order, again using the script debugger. Since there is already a portal on the item layout, I can update the locations via the portal instead of going to the item location join table. Before we leave this file, let's take a look at the relationship graph. This method doesn't require many portals, so there aren't too many extra table occurrences here. That will be different in the next method. The second method uses portals on every layout that requires a quantity update. The portals can be placed to the right of the layout boundary, making them accessible but invisible. They are within the layout boundaries here in order to demonstrate the technique. I'll create a purchase order for 10 units of item A. Let's look at the debugger while we receive that order. Global fields create a relationship that populates the portals, and updates happen without ever leaving the context of the current record. This may be valuable if you're using WebDirect, as new windows in WebDirect are new sessions and utilize another license. The third method also updates via a portal, but instead of placing the portal on every layout that requires an update, as in the second method, the portals are placed on the transaction layout. Like the first method, this requires fewer table occurrences on the relationship graph. Once again, I'll create a purchase order for item A, this time stepping through with the debugger. Like the first method, a new window is used, but only one window, as items and item location quantities are updated on the transaction layout. And here we see the process of receiving. The fourth method differs from the first three in that the quantity fields are not located in the item table nor on the item location join table. Rather, the fields are part of the transaction table. I'll go back to the third file, and you can see that the quantity fields are part of the item and the item location tables. Keeping these quantities in the transaction table means we now have a history of the quantity movements. It also requires a method for making sure that the quantity fields displayed on the item layout comes from the most recent transaction. To accomplish this, I've added a value pair to the relationship. The constant of 1 will be equal to this field, which will change during scripting. I'll create a purchase order for item A and go to Receiving. I'm using a few more subscripts here, and the method, at least as far as I've created it, is a bit more involved. The advantage, however, is that the quantities now have a history in the transaction table. These files are free and completely open. You can download them at www.newleafdata.com. Go to Downloads and FileMaker Files. You can also read the inventory thread on the FileMaker community forum. Search for Updating Inventory. If you have a method for updating inventory, please leave a comment below. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment as well.